What's up, gangsters? How about some 3D printing action? And when I say action, I mean a complete and total disaster. Yeah, this video is going to be about one of those things that you hope never happens to you and how I got out of it. So, with that, I will save you any further suspense and let's get right to seeing what happened. Well, holy shit. This is the video you never want to be making yourself. Like, you don't wish this stuff on anybody else, but this is the video you hope to only ever see on somebody else's channel. Yep, I walked in here to hopefully find a successful print because things have been going great for the last few days. I've been cranking out parts. And the first thing I noticed was that there was nothing on the build plate. And then I looked, and over here was a pool of resin. And that's when I noticed it running down the side of the machine, and immediately opened the door and saw that it was all over the front here. Yeah, so of course, my first thought was not, oh, I know, I'll make a YouTube video about this. It was, holy shit, I got to start cleaning this up. And so this is where I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm a little more calmed down and it's a little less of a mess. So here's the story so far. That's what was on the build plate. And if you look right there, you'll see something that looks weird, and it perfectly matches that spot right there, which is a hole in the FEP. Yeah, bad problem. And this is where hopefully I'm going to be real glad that this machine ships with a screen protector. Yeah, how much resin is inside the machine? I don't know. If that's all sealed, I may be okay. It depends on how much ran down inside there where the cable for the Z-height sensor is. I don't know. It may have all just run down the outside. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so here I am about 10 minutes later. And yeah, I still don't know that things are any better, but at least they're cleaner. And just a couple of things that have made getting cleaned up to this degree a lot easier. One is this squeeze bottle of 99% isopropyl alcohol. That helps a lot. These little disposable brushes from Amazon, you buy them like 100 of them for $5. This silicone dog mat, also from Amazon, a good place to be able to put things. Lots of little towels, obviously. The wash and cure, because then you can take like the entire build plate, and what I'm about to do is put the entire vat in there and clean that up with considerably less mess. I was able to dump most of the resin back into the bottle with a funnel and a paint filter, which you can see down there in the trash. So at least the cleanup effort is mostly done. What I'm afraid of, though, is how much resin is inside the machine. There was a little bit drooling out right down there by the switch. I guess I could actually turn the machine. Hold on. Maybe. Yeah, there was a little bit drooling out right there by the power switch that clearly came from inside. And what's pretty obvious is that back here, because it had pooled all back in here. So some of it has leaked down into this joint right here. I could see that. How much is yet to be determined. Obviously, some could also, you can see, yep, there's some right there in that corner, back there behind the retention bracket for the vat. Obviously, some ran down inside there. So I don't think it was a huge amount, because when I moved the machine, the pool of resin that was on the desk here had only seeped over to about right where the edge of the machine was. So I think most of it came down the side here and then ran back all over the desk. So anyway, the next phase is going to be seeing if I can get this screen protector off and what's going on there. There's the bit of the FEP that's still stuck. Yeah, hopefully it's not a cracked screen. Okay, so you can see that I've got the corner of this protective film lifted. That came up pretty easy, and so let's just see right here on camera what it takes to peel this off. That does not look like a protective film. It only looks like a protective gasket. I've been told in no uncertain terms by the folks at epax that this thing has a screen protector on it. So I hope that it is there, and that after I get this gasket off, I can figure out how to get the screen protector film to lift, because that's what I'm assuming, is that it's just a film that's basically invisible until you peel it off. We'll see. Okay, so here we go. It's the next day, and careful examination of this thing under a magnifier does not show any trace of a screen protector. And so I contacted epax and said, hey, I was told in an email that there was a screen protector, but I don't see one. What do you guys think? And they said that there was maybe an initial screen protector on there when the thing was brand new. I don't remember removing anything when I first got the machine. It doesn't really matter. There's not anything there. So their advice was to soak a towel in isopropyl alcohol and let it sit there and hopefully kind of soften that up, and then use a plastic scraper to try and get under the edge. And so that's what I did here. And if I can get my finger out of the way, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this and hold the camera, but thus far, I mean, with just a very little bit of coaxing, I'm able to get that to loosen up with the plastic scraper. And there we go. That's what I was hoping would happen. So that is one half of the problem popped loose. That's a huge relief. So I'm going to tackle the other side, see where I get. Okay, so it's quite some time later because I had to order some stuff from epax to get this thing put back together, and I've also had other things to do. But I have now installed the seal that goes around the perimeter of the screen. You can see that on there. It comes on this backing paper. It's a little tricky to put on, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It just can't obscure the screen, obviously. So to check that, I'm going to just print my vat cleaner file as a quick test, and we'll see how that goes. As long as none of it's obscured, should be fine. Oh, it's a little bit crooked. The very back corner of it, it's just barely obscured along the very back edge back there. That's pretty annoying, but I think I'm not going to worry about it. It's so close, and it's so difficult to get this thing on there straight that I think I'm going to just leave that. All right, the other thing is that because this does not actually have a screen protector that you can apply to the screen itself, I'm left to make my own because there's not a third-party one available for this machine. So what I did is I bought some clear acetate like you use for the old school overhead projector slides. And it also occurred to me that if this screen protector is stuck to the build or to the machine, and I get a leak in the FEP, and then the vat is stuck to the screen, then that effectively means that all of this is stuck in there, just like it was when the resin leaked directly onto the surface of the screen. So it occurred to me that what I should really do is attach the protector to the vat. That way, if there's a leak, the screen protector will glue itself to the bottom of the vat, but I should still be able to slide the whole thing out, assuming that I haven't, well, it may leak beyond the edges of the screen protector, but it won't leak back onto the screen itself and get welded to it. At least that's my theory. Now, obviously, when it's time to change the FEP, I'll have to take this off, but that's not a big deal. So anyway, that should be fine. And this, by the way, is my brand new factory fresh vat with FEP pre-installed that I bought as an extra, so that when I have a situation where I'm trying to run a bunch of prints and I have a failure that ruins the film, that I don't have to stop what I'm doing just to change it out. So anyway, I'm gonna get all that put back together and run a print. Okay, so I am back up and running, but I wanted to show you guys some of the parts that I had been printing that led to that whole debacle. I have been working on a kit design project of a tractor, and I've been working on the wheels and the axles and all of that stuff. And so this is Craftsman resin. These are printed at 0.2 or 0.02 millimeters, 20 microns. And you can see that I'm getting really nice detail resolution and surface finish. And that's good. Craftsman, yeah, you know, I've got it pretty well dialed in, and I like it, but I'm running into a couple of problems that have made me think that maybe I should look at some other resins. I'm not going to switch anytime soon because I just got a really good deal on 3 liters of Craftsman for like 20 bucks a piece. I have heard a rumor that they're talking about discontinuing it. I have no idea if that's true, but whatever, I'm going to be using it for a while. However, the issues are, one, this thing that happened with my FEP. I and other guys have noticed that the whole thing with it sticking to the FEP really badly, it seems to be pretty common with Craftsman. And maybe the truth is that the stuff is just harder on a FEP, or at least on an InFEP. I don't know, but you know, this is the stuff that I peeled off of my screen in that near disaster. You know, these pieces, I got super lucky with that. You know, but you can see right there where the tear was. Wait, that's not it at all. Where is it? It's right here. That is the piece of my FEP that's embedded in the resin that got baked onto the screen, and I just got super lucky that I was able to get that all off of there without having to replace my screen. But you can see literally the only difference between the print that failed and the one before was this is what I was doing before. I had these big heavy supports, which I've had really good luck with, but I decided to change and do something more like this. That was literally the only thing that was different from one print to the next. Every print prior to that had been 100% successful. This was just an instant random failure. Oh, there's actually the piece of the FEP still stuck to the part that was on the build plate. But yeah, that's what came out of that hole right there that ruined that film. So yeah, that's not any good at all, and makes me wonder. But I have some new InFEP that I'm going to put on this vat when I feel particularly energetic. Hopefully it'll be before the one on the other vat fails. But knowing me, I'll end up with 2 failed vats, and I'll just have to do both of them at the same time to get running again. At any rate, you know, so this is one of those moments where, like, people talk a lot about getting stuff off of the film, and you can see that sometimes that trick of just pushing on it will work. This, you know, that came off of there pretty easily. But sometimes shit is just so stuck that nothing will get it off of there. And that's what happened here. And I've had that in other situations. So again, maybe if that, you know, using your thumb trick works for every other resin, but not so much for Craftsman, maybe there's a, you know, maybe there's something going on with Craftsman. I don't know. But that's that FEP is pretty tight. You can hear it resonate when I blow on it. So that wasn't the issue. It wasn't that the FEP was too loose, that I installed it incorrectly, whatever. Anyhow, the other issue that I'm seeing on these prints that really is actually more disturbing is this. So if you look at these wheels, okay, you'll have to get really super zoomed in. You can see not too bad on these, but look right there by the S, T, and the O in Firestone, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a shift in the text. There you go. You can see it right there. The E, the S, and the T have all shifted a little bit. It's like there's a double, but it's not on the other letters. And on this print, let's see, did it on this print is in a different orientation, and it did it on these as well, but not the same letters. The E, S, and the T look good on these, but look right there at the F, I, and the R. It's terrible. What's common is that it's stuff that's right here about the middle of the build. Now, I don't know what that would possibly have to do with anything. The fact, I just noticed that it's basically at the same elevation both times, and you can kind of see it on these letters as well. Maybe there's something going on right there at that part of the build. Maybe I need more supports in that area. Maybe it's moving a little bit. I don't know. But that's a real bummer because these prints are so beautiful otherwise. And I have not seen that issue on other parts. I mean, it clearly it didn't do it. Didn't do it on these letters. I don't think. And these are all oriented at something arbitrary that's close to 45 in one direction and like 15 in another direction. You guys know I don't get too hung up on the exact angle, but overall, the lettering here is just not quite as crisp as I would like for it to be. And a comparison is when you look at the same on these tires. Okay, these were printed with epax hard black, which is a very crisp resin. And you can see how beautifully that lettering came out. There's absolutely no issue there. And these were printed at the same orientation. In fact, this print was identical to this print right here. So these were printed exactly the same way, and you see the issue with the one resin, this one, but not the other one. So I don't really know what to think about that. It's a real bummer though. you know, for use, you know, for masters, you know, you might work that out. I mean, that's going to be a little bit hard to remove that where it doesn't show up in up close photography. So that's kind of a bummer. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. I'm gonna have to do some more experimentation, but nonetheless, things have been going pretty well with my little epax x1-4k, and I'm getting good stuff, and it's making this whole kit design thing a whole lot easier than it would be if I had to ask somebody else to print my parts. You can see the performer letters on that one are not so great. So I don't know, maybe it's just an issue with this file and the way that I've got it supported. Maybe it is shifting a little bit. There's a lot of surface area there with each cross section as compared to something like this. And if in fact this resin is stickier and it has a harder time separating from the FEP than this resin does, then yeah, I could see that maybe there's a little something going on where it's physically getting out of whack in a few of those layers. So I don't know, we'll see. Definitely indicates further study. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, you can see that was a bad day, but hopefully you can also see that it was recoverable. You know, even something as bad as having resin on your screen can, you know, sometimes be recovered without going through a bunch of crazy gyrations or breaking out the flamethrowers or anything like that. So yeah, hopefully I don't ever have to deal with this again. Hopefully the you know, the little fix that I've made with my screen protector will guarantee that. You know, that's the kind of thing that you don't find out is going to fail until it's really bad, till, you know, shit really goes wrong. But hopefully I will never have to worry about that. We'll see. Anyway, I hope you guys who are into 3D printing found this useful, and as always, I appreciate you watching. Much love.